Hey, what's going on, YouTubers? KQKC is here this morning to talk to you, not about the current state of boxing, but about the past state of boxing. I want to talk about a true heavyweight in the past. See, as I told you before, I'm a new channel and I will be doing different things in the sport of boxing. And I'm looking for subscribers to give me a chance to do what I want to do to please you. And I'm going to start off changing here, changing there, doing this, doing that, because KQKC is a decorative new channel with very, very less unbiased. Okay? I'm very unbiased. So, now, the first, since we dominated the airways with the two heavyweights in the world, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, well, I have another heavyweight, a blast from the past. And his official name is Joe Louis. He's a heavyweight boxer. He was born in 1914. And of course, may he rest in peace, he died in 1981. And yes, he was an African American boxer who reigned as world heavyweight champion from 1937 until 1949. He's regarded as one of his sport's all-time greats. Now, see the similarity? Joe Louis and Deontay Wilder. You will see the similarities. Born in Alabama, just like Deontay Wilder, in 1914, Joe Louis became boxing's heavyweight champion with his defeat over James Braddock. Okay? Now, in 1937, the nickname, the Brown Bomber. Deontay Wilder, born in Alabama, his nickname is the Bronze Bomber. You see the similarity there, people? I hope that you will record this, because this is history. His knockout of Germany's Max Schmeling in 1938 made him a national hero, and he established a record by retaining the championship close to 12 years. After boxing, Louis endured financial problems while working as a referee, a casino greeter, and he died of a cardiac arrest in 1981. Now, the defeat of Braddock for the heavyweight title on June 22nd, 1937, Joe Louis was given the chance to fight James Braddock for the heavyweight championship, and later the subject of Ron Howard's 2005 film Cinderella Man. Braddock was renowned for his perseverance, by his younger, stronger opponent, and the Brown Bomber. Battered Braddock in the middle rounds until finishing him with an 8-round knockout to claim the heavyweight crown. Now, his pro beginnings and loss to Schmeling, Joe Louis hit the ground running. As a professional in 1934, obliterating opponents with his powerful jab and devastating combos. As I mentioned, and to this day, everything works off the jab. By the end of 1935, the young fighter had already dispatched former heavyweight champion Primo Carnero and, of course, Max Baer, accumulating some 300, now listen to this is prize money, $370,000 in prize money along the way. Big change from then to now, right? Yes. However, he reportedly did not train hard for his first fight against former heavyweight champion Max Schnelling of Germany. And on June 19, in 1936, Schelling scored a 12-round knockout to hand Lewis his first professional defeat. Now, they did have a Schelling rematch, and it was on June 22nd, 1938. Lewis got the chance at a rematch with Schelling, but this time the stakes were higher. When Schelling hailed as an example of Aryan supremacy by none other than Adolf Hitler. The bout took on heightened nationalist and racial overtones. This time, Lewis annihilated his German opponents with a first round knockout. Sound familiar? There's 3 points I made that sounds familiar with Deontay Wilder, making him a hero to both black and white Americans. Another point: blacks love Deontay Wilder, but you also have just as more whites that love Deontay Wilder. Like Emanuel Stewart said years ago, knockout sells. And I'm not talking about financially. It sells to the people. People love that. So, now, as his run as heavyweight champ, one of the world's best known athletes, Lewis' enduring popularity was partly due to his sheer dominance. His dominance of his 25 successful title defenses. Nearly all came by knockout. Another familiar person we know. Deontay Wilder, 39 knockouts, 40-0. Ooh, baby. Yes, sir. But in winning, Lewis also showed himself to be a gracious and even generous victor. He also drew praise from his support of the country's war effort. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1942 and donated prize money to military relief funds. After reigning as heavyweight champion for 11 years and 8 months, a record, Lewis retired on March the 1st, 1949. Now, the next person I'm about to bring up, we all familiar with that name. I don't know if we all familiar with that person because we wasn't around to see him, but we all relate to him and Floyd Mayweather, and that's the loss to Marciano. And we all know who he is. Okay? Saddened with financial problems, Lewis returned to the ring to face a new heavyweight champion, Ezra Charles, in September 1950. Dropping a 15-round decision, he completed a new winning streak against a series of lesser opponents, but was no match for top contender Rocky Marciano. Following their bout on October 26, 1951, which ended in a brutal 8th round TKO. Now, Lewis retired for good with a career record of, listen to this, 68-3 with 54 knockouts. God damn. Now, people saying, wow, why you saying God damn? He only had this and that. But you'd have to understand, back in that time, it wasn't like this time. The money was low. The racism was high. That's all need to be said. Now, in the early years, Joseph Louis Barrow, as I mentioned, was born on the 13th of May in a shack outside Lafayette, Alabama, the grandson of slaves. He was the 7 or 8 children born to sharecropper father Mon and wife Lily, a law dresser. Lewis' early life was shaped by financial troubles. He and his siblings slept 3 and 4 to a bed. Just like some people going through poverty now. How the government raised taxes on the rich and still let the poor suffer. But that's another video for another politics. So, anyway, where was I? Okay. Like I said, him and his siblings, they did sleep 3 and 4 to a bed. And Lewis was just 2 years old when his father was committed to insane asylum. Shy and quiet, his development was stymied by limited education, and he eventually developed a stammer. Not long after, Lily Barrow remarried to a widow, Patrick Brooks. The family migrated north to Detroit. Lewis attended the Bronson Trade School, where he trained as a cabinet maker, but was soon forced to take on odd jobs after Brooks lost his job with the Ford Motor Company. You know, the big 3 is in Detroit, of course, we all know that. After Lewis began hanging out with a local gang, Lily sought to keep her son out of trouble and having him take violin lessons. However, Lewis had also been introduced to boxing by a friend. He began using the violin money to train at Brewster's Recreational Center. Now, we all see the similarities. You know, you just got to go through there and pick out what he has done and what Deontay Wilder has done. Now remember, they are both American heavyweights. Now, let's talk about his amateur success. Let me start this way. Fighting under the name Joe Louis, reportedly so his mother wouldn't find out, Joe Louis began his amateur career in late 1931. Why not immediate success? He was floored several times by 1932 Olympian Johnny Miller in his debut. Lewis soon proved he could hit harder than anybody else. Now, that sticks out. So Deontay Wilder has heavy hands, and that right one-punch hand is the reason why Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn threw some junk into the contract, and that's why Deontay won't sign it. And that's why they did it, because of his punching power. Now, his all-around skills eventually caught up to his punching powers. And in 1934, he won Detroit's Golden Gloves light heavyweight title in the opening class and the National Amateur Athlete Union Championship. He wrapped up his amateur career with 50 wins and 54 matches, 43 of them by knockout. I mean, you can't ask for a better amateur career than that. You know, why would you continue on with your amateur career when you're doing things like this? So what? You better hightail it over to the pros and test yourself. That's right. That's what you need to do. Now, I will say Deontay Wilder doesn't have too much amateur experience, except for the Olympics. Now, I think he fought about the same amount of amateur bouts that Joe Louis fought. Now, I don't know the correct numbers, but I believe it's in the 40s and 50s also. Now this is the post-boxing career of Joe Louis. The years after his retirement from the ring proved uneven for Louis. He was still a revered public figure, but money was a constant issue for him due to unpaid taxes. We always hear this, not only from boxing athletes, basketball, football, sports, you name it. The IRS will come and get theirs. Then you left what? Broke. Oh, and don't let me forget singers also. We had MC Hammer. I mean, we had a lot of IRS victims. Let me put it that way. So, I mean, that's how the cookie crumbles. You have to hire someone you trust to make sure you pay those taxes. So, anyway, now, due to the unpaid taxes, he briefly wrestled professionally in the mid-1950s and later served as a referee for both wrestling and boxing matches. The IRS eventually forgave his debt, allowing the former champion to regain some financial stability when he worked as a greeter, a great greeter at the Caesar Palace Casino in Las Vegas. And we all know what the Caesar Palace is. They've been there for years. Beautiful place. I've been there. Beautiful place. When I went there, I didn't get a chance to get a room there. I stayed in the Luxor Hotel. The Luxor Hotel. It was the big black building with the pyramid and everything. That was a new hotel. At that time, it was rebuilding Las Vegas up. Okay? Now, Louis suffered from his share of health problems also as he aged. After battling a cocaine addiction, he was committed to a psychiatric care in 1970. He was later confirmed or confined. I do apologize for the mispronunciation of that word. He was later confined to a wheelchair after undergoing heart surgery in 1977. Now, just want to finish up here. Overall, Lewis was married not once, not twice, but 4 times. He twice married and divorced Barbara Trotter, with whom he had 2 children, Jacqueline and Joseph Lewis Jr. His marriage to his second wife, Rose Morgan, was annulled after less than 3 years. With his third wife, Martha Jefferson, he adopted 4 more children, Joe Jr., John, Joyce, and Janet. Additionally, Lewis was romantically involved with such celebrities as singer Lena Horne and actress Lana Turner. Now, this is important. On a serious note, this is important. All boxing fans, all past boxing fans, all casual boxing fans, I will, KQKC, would like to be on a serious note at the end of this conversation. And this is the death and legacy of the Brown Bomber, who I believe has a lot of similarities to Deontay Wilder, who is the Bronze Bomber. Both Alabamans. Now, Lewis passed away from cardiac arrest on April the 12th, 1981. Now, that's the year I graduated. You probably know my age, Dan. That's the year I graduated from what we call grammar school, 8th grade. But I graduated in June of 1981, Chicago, Illinois. But undoubtedly, one of his sports all-time greats. He was inducted into the Ring magazine, which Oscar De La Hoya later on bought, Magazine Boxing Hall of Fame in 1954, and the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. However, Lewis also left behind a legacy that transcended the boundaries of athletes. He was posthumously awarded a Congressional Gold Medal in 1982. And in 1983, he was the first boxer, the very first boxers to appear on a commemorative postage stamp. Now, that is the end of the great Joe Louis. Now, I have to give all credit to the publisher, who is A&E Television Networks. It doesn't have an original published date, but we all know how the Brown Bomber was. Now, if you want to go on further and maybe discuss this with other boxing fans, maybe the LDBC want to take a look at this, you always can find a website. This one is Autobiography.com. And of course, the publisher is A&E Television Network. So, a shout out to them for doing a great job in a short period of his life. And that's a heavyweight champion. Someone that faced adversity. See, back then, wasn't nobody negotiating millions of dollars. At that time, they was negotiating hundreds of dollars. Now, that $370,000 is what he accumulated. It's not what he made in one fight. It's what he accumulated among more than one fight. So, I really, really would like to hear your comments on this biography of the Brown Bomber. And I would like to hear your comments on the similarities of the Brown Bomber and the Bronze Bomber. Now, I know Deontay Wilder never had to face racism. Well, at least, let me put it this way. Deontay Wilder never had to face racism the way Joe Louis faced racism. And always remember, yes, his name was Joe Louis because he didn't want his mom to find out. But his actual name is Joe Louis Barrow. Barrow. But I assume his mom found out. But he was good at it. He had a great amateur career. Very great amateur career. And talk about who could punch. Oh, he could punch. And I'm telling you, right now, him and Deontay Wilder, they had that in common. Besides being heavyweights, of course. And remember, at that time, they went 15 rounds. And they wasn't using the sweet science. They were using the street science, slugging. But he went on to live a good life. He have beautiful children. Well, they're grown now. And I have no doubt that he had beautiful wives. One, he married twice and divorced. So he must really loved her. Not saying he didn't love the rest of them, but, we men, And sometimes, divorce is necessary. Because either one grew another way and one grew another way. But you remain friends. That's what real men and real women do. We don't try to kill our wife for the insurance money and to get rid of her for our girlfriends. So, with that, I just thought that my viewers will have another knowledge about the past of heavyweight boxing. And I thought that I would start something once a week, giving information about a fighter in the past. And I'm not talking about in the past like in the 80s. I'm not talking about in the past like in the 90s. I'm talking about in the past. You understand? We had a lot of good fighters back then, just that don't get the recognition or get talked about to this day. Now, I do hear Willie Pep name here and there, but I would like to go back a little further. But this is KQKC Boxing Channel. I need for you to subscribe to this newly decorative channel. If you like what you're hearing, if you like what you heard, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and you will get notified every time I upload a video. Now, on your way out, pound that like button if you like what you just heard. And no, there's nothing copyrighted about anything. And feel free to use that and spread the word. Because we have to start from scratch with this boxing. We have to know where we came from, or where boxing came from, to find out how much boxing have changed. So, with that, this is KQKC Boxing Channel. And I will see you on the next video. Everyone have a great Sunday. Peace.